What's up guys, Inigami here. Let's go through the Chaos Difficulty Saga Colosseum. Now once again, the Colosseum stages are all incredibly difficult, so do not feel bad if you cannot beat these stages. They are as hard and oftentimes harder than 60 stamina raid bosses. Level 1 is going to be Butler. Butler has 2.24 million health and will preemptively reduce your chain by half. That means do not bring Rayleigh Captain, you're going to have a very bad time. He attacks for 4,000 damage or so every single turn, and below 20% will attack for 25,000. The trick is he will revive himself once he dies, and he will heal up for 560,000 health. So what I am doing is I'm going to be using a Mihawk friend. We're going to burst Butler down once he gets fairly low. We're gonna take another turn here to get a few better orbs, and then whenever we do our burst, we're going to use Mihawk special after the revive to kill not only, well, you cannot kill Butler with it because he will get a 4-hit perfect berry. If you are using a Law Captain, that is the 6-star Law Captain, then you can use 6-star Law special in order to let you bypass the perfect hit barriers. So 6-star Law plus Hawk Captains will let you kill Butler and his friends. But without that, you're just going to have to use Hawk special to kill Butler afterwards. Golden Pound Usopp, save it for after Butler revives because he will be much tougher to kill with that 4 perfect hit barrier. Using Golden Pound Usopp will save you a lot of trouble because he'll be very close to that 20% health, and taking 25,000 damage is not something you really want to do. All the units around him only have about 200,000 health and will attack for a couple thousand each. Not the most scary units in the world, but quite a pain whenever you're trying to kill not only them, but Butler too. So here we go, we're going to use Momonga special, we're going to use Gold Pound Usopp to buy us some more time, and pew 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 pew. With 4 barriers, we basically only get 2 attacks in. The last combo hit out of the 4th attack, and then 2 actual attacks in. Just for funsies, all the units around him will attack you for just under 6,000 damage. So if you do end up having to take a hit from him, if you're using a different strategy, you can plan around taking about 6,000 damage each. But here, Butler goes down without too much issue. Stage 2 of the Colosseum is going to be the Octopus Boxer. The Octopus Boxer, we're going to be using a double Enel quick team because he will attack every single turn for 4,256 damage. That means we can stall out a couple turns with him. He only has 1.15 million health, but he does preemptively reduce all damage taken by 50%, prevents delay for 4 turns, and has a 12-hit barrier. Now, I do use a poo on the first turn. You don't need to use a poo at all. I was just using a poo to get a little more damage out, but not even really necessary, because you have to make sure you plan on how much damage you're going to be doing to him, basically double his health, and you can use the damage calculator in the video description to put up a 12-hit barrier to see how much damage you'll do, and try to kill him on the 3rd turn. The reason is on the 4th turn, the Octopus is going to summon the Kraken, and the Kraken has 5 million health, attacks every 3 turns for 14,000 damage, and is quite a beast. So if you can kill the Octopus on the 3rd turn, that will save you a lot of headache and a lot of heartache. So even if you don't use a poo, you can just attack for the first 2 turns here, taking those first 2 hits. If you use a Marco friend or something like that, you can always use the Marco to Nell special first and then Marco to heal right after that on this stage. But a double Enel team works out fine too. Enel special, Dofy special, and Kizaru special will give you tons of damage, and in fact I kill him without even having to use all of my attacks here. As an added bonus, Chaos Colosseum Vista will gift you bottom row matching orbs, which is quite useful. That's 2 matching orbs here. Kizaru gives himself a matching orb, so basically you get almost full matching orbs just between those 2 specials. And Dofmingo moves your orbs around. Tons of damage. Use the second Enel special and use 1000 Sunny just in case. I wasn't exactly sure how much damage I'd do. I knew it'd be a lot of damage, but I didn't know I'd do that much damage towards kicking his Batuti. So, hit those combos. 1, 2, 3, 4. Goodbye, Kraken. Octopus, not the Kraken. It is after his turn 4, so make sure you kill him early. Stage number 3 is going to be Anniversary Luffy. We're going to be using a zombie team. Oh yes, it's been a while since I've got to get my hands on a good old zombie team again. Now, there are free-to-play options that work just fine. For the free-to-play option, what you'll want to be using is your own Vivi, so that way Vivi heals up. And you can use any zombie friend captain. You can use Vivi Pell, you can use Vivi Stronghold Usopp, you can use Vivi Stream Wolf, Zoro, whatever zombie team you'd like to use. As long as you can make sure you will be able to take 30,000 damage as a hit. So if you're using a Vivi, for example, a Vivi Lionsong Zoro or Vivi Sanji team, you want to use things that will help you kill Luffy once he gets below 20%. Either bringing a sugar to kill him below 20%, or using the new Raid Boss Sabo. Raid Boss Sabo gives you tons of damage for a team like a zombie team, because if you hit either a perfect, a great, or a good with your attacks with a Raid Boss Sabo special on, you'll do about 300,000 damage, which is a lot for a zombie team. You can see here that when I try and hit all my perfects, I barely do 100,000 damage. Now I am using a Corazon and Strong Sanji team, just because Corazon, I haven't been able to stretch out his legs, and he is pretty fun to use. It is a little risky using this strategy because below 20%, I have to take a couple hits, and if you don't heal up back to full, of course you will die, which is not quite pleasant to do. Luffy, below 50%, will enrage, attacking every single turn for 10,200 damage. Here are other strategies that work out well against this Luffy. For example, you could use a double Rayleigh int team to burst him down, bring a Robin, bring some other stuff. You have to remember that Luffy will silence any non-int unit, so you basically have to use a full int team against them, or else any other character is just there for their stats, which usually is not quite useful. But for a zombie team, you're going to be taking more than 20 turns on this anyway, so the color of your units does not exactly matter. And I had to hit great a couple times because I wasn't exactly sure how much health Luffy had. I didn't want to die after taking so long. I managed to take about 40 turns. You can see the turn counter on the, or what effectively becomes the turn counter on the upper right hand corner of the screen there. Stage number 4 is going to be Christmas Law. We're going to be using a Dexhawk, Mihawk, Dexhawk, Inthawk team once again. This is another free-to-play option for our Christmas Law friend. He has 5.8 million health. He'll preemptively prevent all debuffs and boost your orbs by 1.25 times. So there's no point in bringing a character like Dofmingo, since Dofmingo cannot boost your orbs. He can only move them around. He will actually heal your turn for 5,000 damage, because Law is a cool guy and wants to give you a nice cool gift. We're going to use our Duval on turn 1 to eat up a bit of damage and do 20% damage to Law himself. Remember that Duval will prevent 50% damage to your team for 1 turn. Arlong and Mr. 1. Arlong is there just because he hits hard. Mr. 1 also reduces damage and is another burst, another damage booster. Ideally, my Brownbeard special would be ready, and I would use my Brownbeard special for my burst turn instead of my Mr. 1, because I end up using Mr. 1 special instead of the Brownbeard special whenever I want to burst him. Below half health, he will reduce your entire team's attack by half for 4 turns. He will shuffle all your orbs and give you a chance of getting Bother and G orbs in that shuffle too. So be careful, you want to burst him starting above 50% health. And he doesn't do that until he attacks. So you can take advantage of... make sure you burst while he's on 2 turns, so you get 2 turns of burst before he reduces your team's attack by half. And if you are... when we see on level 5, the next stage with Saga, when you see me using a pseudo-zombie team over there, Law will swap back and forth between attacking and healing for 100,000 damage every turn, just to keep track of how much damage you have to do to him. So ideally here, I would have used the Brownbeard last turn to do extra damage, so Mihawk special would do more damage. And Brownbeard gives himself a matching orb too if you need that matching orb. If you want an even better team, of course, if you have 3-day 2-year Zoro, 3-day 2-year Zoro is the best slasher booster you can get. Not only does he give himself an attack, not only does he give himself a strength orb, but he also boosts slasher damage by huge amounts for 2 turns. What a cool guy. There you go, goodbye, Law. And now, the final stage. Saga and Christmas Law. We're going to be using a double Enel team, pseudo-zombie team. It's not recommended, but it is free to play. Against Christmas Law here, it is a super pain. If you have a Raid Boss Sabo, I highly recommend bringing Raid Boss Sabo here, because then you won't have to take so dang long like I did. Because Raid Boss Sabo does do about 300,000 damage for 2 turns. That's 600,000 damage or so total, which is quite nice whenever you're sitting here punching a guy to death for barely 100,000 damage with matching orbs. He only has 2.8 million health here on stage 4, because they usually have reduced health, but his attack pattern and everything else works exactly the same. Below 50%, he still lowers your attack by half for 4 turns, he still shuffles your orbs, and he'll swap between attacking and healing for 100,000 health every other turn. The Moby Dick, although not necessary, is quite useful, giving us some more health so that way I can heal up more without having to worry about finding food orbs. Without the Moby Dick, you have to get pretty lucky with food orbs in order to make this team to work. Or you can bring a Raid Boss Sabo to make these turns a lot easier. You can also get rid of Alvida and bring in Inazuma. The reason we have Alvida is mostly for next stage, Saga's first 3 attacks, because Saga will attack us for 11,000 damage for the first 3 attacks. And Inazuma will reduce those for 3 turns. If you're using other teams, you can always use a special like Smoker that reduces damage for 3 turns, but here we'll be able to use Duval for 1 of the attacks, Alvida for another attack, and just take a 3rd attack directly from Saga once we get over there. We're going to be stalling off after we get Law low. I say stalling as if we really have that much choice, but I am going to be waiting at least until my Duval special is up so that we can use Duval again on Saga. So here we go, Saga, Duval for 1 attack. And we might as well use Duval first so we can get that health cut. Alvida for another damage reduction. Saga will greatly reduce any damage that he takes above 700,000. That's from 1 single attack, so if you're using a team that bursts very heavily on the top side, for example a double Rayleigh team, those last attacks will get greatly reduced, whereas a team that attacks more evenly is going to have a better time against Saga. And I'm going to let him get me pretty low. I'm just trying to do as much damage as I can. As long as we avoid his 20%, that's all that matters. Use all our specials. And then we can burst him down. Goodbye, Saga. And here's just another team that works well for Chaos Saga Colosseum. Once again, this is stage number 5, or level number 5. A Mihawk friend with a Doflamingo captain. You get a much reduced damage compared to a double Mihawk team, or Mihawk and Law team, or Mihawk Dexhawk team. But you do get quite a bit more health. With this team, you basically need the 3-day 2-year Zoro, because 3-day 2-year Zoro's attack boost is going to be extremely vital. Smoker can be swapped out with Inazuma or anyone else who reduces damage for multiple turns. And if you're using a Mihawk team with a Law team, then you can use your Mihawk sub to let you deal super extra damage on the next stage too. Now I actually messed up twice on this stage and we still managed to pull it off. This was my first attempt and it actually worked out a lot better than I thought, especially with messing up twice. Because I'm going to burst him very soon here, and it's not gonna go too well. So ideally what you'll want to do is you'll want to get Christmas Law very close to that 50% health. And then right above 50% before he reduces your attack damage by half and whatnot, you're going to burst him down, kill him, and then use one Mihawk special or two Mihawk specials if you have two Mihawk specials to use. Especially if you're using a Mihawk Law team, two Mihawk specials will almost kill Saga if you kill Christmas Law on that first turn, which is entirely doable, especially with a special like Zoro's special, which is so darned strong. So here we go. We're going to be using all our specials soon. Come on, I know I'm thinking very hard. Strategery here. Get him a little bit closer to 50%. I will be taking another hit. And trying to take a few hits, because we need to wait for our Zoro. I want to get level 3 of Zoro if I can, because that is the larger burst. There you go, we hit level 3 of Zoro. If you have a higher damage captain team, for example, the Mihawk and Law team that I keep talking about, if you have that team, you don't need to use your Mihawk special here. Instead, you'll want to just kill him in one turn. But with this team, I will need to use the Mihawk, and we actually don't manage to kill him. I attack him in what is, for my team's damage, the best order I can, but he does manage to live with a sliver of health, which is not ideal. Although we do still have the damage boost from Zoro, which basically counteracts his heal that he does for just a bit. I do lose out on the huge damage I would have gotten out of my Mihawk friend. So since I do not have the Mihawk burst that we would have liked to use against Saga right here, right now, we're gonna have to do this the hard and dirty way. Now I know exactly how much damage Saga's gonna hit for. We're gonna use Smoker for those first 3 turns, reducing his 11,000 damage hits to 5,500 damage. I can heal up a little bit, but the plan is to take 2 hits from Saga, use our Marco just to heal. Marco cannot give us an orb boost because we already have a 1.25 times orb boost left over from Christmas Law. Remember that orb boosts do not stack. Anything that you already have a boost of does not stack, so you can't have it twice. Take another hit from Saga here, while trying to do as much damage as we can. And then this turn we'll be using the Marco just for the heal. Now since it is Marco just for the heal, whichever Marco works out great. You can use Quick Marco, you can use Psy Marco. As long as it's a Marco so you can heal back up to full. And that health will be incredibly valuable as we slowly slug our way through Saga. It's not a clean fight, but it's a fight that works. Technically. And Doffingo's special is only gonna be to move orbs around, so I actually end up using it on the very last turn to put my Dex orbs in the right place. Remember that 20% health. Saga hurts us a lot, so make sure you avoid that 20% hit from Saga. And that's mostly it, guys. I like to remind you that on Chaos only difficulty Colosseums, such as Apu, or I believe, which one's out right now? Oh, I can't remember. But on Chaos only difficulty Colosseums, such as Vista, Apu, and some of the others, they are a 100% drop rate. on Colosseums that, even though they are Chaos Difficulty, have multiple difficulties. For example, Saga has different versions of a Saga on the lower difficulty Colosseums. They are not a guaranteed drop, but it's still a pretty high drop rate. So here I know Saga is very close to 20%. I'm very scared of pushing them below 20%. So I'm trying to look for some Dex orbs to try to burst down Saga if at all possible. Mihawk basically doesn't do any good for us right here because Mihawk does damage based on how much damage we're doing, and if we let him get below 100% or below 20% health, we're dead anyway. So RIP Mihawk, shame we didn't use you earlier. Once again, guys, I would like to give a extra special thanks to our Patreon subscribers, Carlos Barron and Super Crazy Apple. My greatest apologies to Super Crazy Apple. I haven't had him included on our last many shoutouts, even though he is a Patreon subscriber. So thank you guys once again for all your support, and thank you for watching, and thank you for anyone who is watching with us on Twitch, and everyone who shares these videos on YouTube. I try to make these as best I can. I'm trying to make some more video game reviews and other content, so please keep an eye out for that. Let me know how you like it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. I am working with a brand new editor, and we're working to put out our first edited review. Guys, I've been Zinigami. That is the Chaos Saga Colosseum. Good luck getting him yourself, and y'all stay beautiful.